So, hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Quantum Compass. My name is David Farrell, and today I'm joined in person by
Alvaran. Hi, everybody. Super happy to be here in Mexico.
Right. So, we have been having to do these shows apart for the last few months for a variety of reasons, but we're super happy to be here together doing this show as part of the Path of the Jaguar, almost we could say, because that's still in process. We finish up tomorrow, but this a particular show is not about that. It's actually about the incoming wave spell, which is the Blue Magnetic Hand. Now, the astrology also coming up in August looks, well, we can say a little challenging. So we're going to be having a dive into that. But we're going to be taking a look, as always, at the energies of the next Mayan wave spell with a bit of context, also a little bit of information to share about some of the stuff that's come up for us during the Path of the Jaguar. And as always, Bella's put together beautiful presentation to guide us through this. So let's take it away.
Right. So the first thing we'll see here is the glyph, the blue hand, which is also associated with the deer, the healing properties of the deer as a totem. And as Davyd just mentioned, we're coming back from the Path of the Jaguar, where we did our pilgrimage all the way to Teotihuacan on the day out of time. We met lots of people doing their own ceremonies, putting their intentions, and all of us were trying to synchronize heaven and earth. So a very important reset day happened on July 25th. This is some of us. Davyd walked a little bit around the site, so we were super happy to be able to do that. Do you want to share?
Yeah, so again, just a huge thank you to all of you who watched this show and who've also contributed to the process. I was able to manage the journey, which I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do. I did manage to walk a reasonable amount. I'm not going to lie, I did get tired and it did hurt at various points. But I navigated the sites of Tula and Teotihuacan relatively easily. The more the week went on, the harder it got. But yeah, you can see that I'm super happy that I was able to stand up and I walk. And that wheelchair, blessings to the people who give me that wheelchair here because it's seen a lot of action in the last 4 months. So yeah, thank you everybody again for all of your love, your support, and everything else that you've given over the last 5 months, because it's all made a huge difference. And you can see also that I'm wearing a necklace there of the deer medicine, which of course here in Mexico is very connected to the peyote plant. So I think that's also interesting.
Good. And then on the 26th of July, we just started a new year, a 364 cycle, which consists of 13 moons. So we just started this. And what the storm is telling us is that there is a storm coming. It has already started. August is astrologically is going to show us a lot of that. But it's a storm that is going to help us bring back more of our true selves, to catalyze changes, to bring more balance into our daily lives. So maybe we will have to let go of some things that don't work for us anymore, but those are the necessary changes. The storm is here to purify, to clear everything that still needs to be cleared.
Right, and probably you can't see that from here, but it's absolutely blowing a hoolie outside. And since Bella arrived back in Mexico for this journey for the Path of the Jaguar, it hasn't really stopped raining. We're not blaming Bella.
It's good though.
It's really good. We had 5 months of drought here this year, and everything was super dry. But we can say that the storm started pretty much with the commencement of this new year. But you want to talk about this glyph a little bit? I often find the glyphs interesting. Are we looking at the storm coming to hit the planet? And is that what the glyph is showing?
It's what it's supposed to represent, a lot of rain and thunder and energy. And the blue is the color of transformation. So the energy that is coming for us, this is the year bearer energy for the whole year. And it's what's telling us it's a whole year for transformation, big transformation, planetary transformation, and individual transformation. So it's the year we will see big changes for sure, starting in August.
Right. Well, also I just wanted to, and we'll come to this in a bit more detail, but the last day of this wave spell, which is a pretty powerful day, astrologically speaking, is also the glyph of the blue cosmic storm. So we're going to get, I think, a pretty clear taster again with this blue hand energy of the storm that's coming. But as you said, and as we've shown in the navigation guide to quantum consciousness, that when we've got these energies that are challenging, they're actually an opportunity for growth and development.
And to reconnect to the power of your inner light. You can use all of this energy to catalyze and to gather all that energy to move forward and to become more multidimensional and to expand your consciousness, to bring new changes into your daily life. So I think sometimes this is part of the forced evolution process that we're entering.
Right. Yeah, that's something we've talked about a lot over the last couple of years, isn't it? The hashtag forced evolution. And it can be painful sometimes, but sometimes as humans, we don't always take the hint and we like to leave things lingering a bit until we get to a point where there isn't any more time to leave them to linger. So I think the storm year is going to bring up all of those things that we all need to look at that no longer serve us.
And as one of the participants in the Path of the Jaguar said, we are the storm. We are the storm we've been waiting for. So we can flow with this storm and bring about the changes that we need. So you could let the changes come and knock you, or you can actually participate actively in those changes.
Right. Yeah. The storm doesn't have to be something that happens to us. It can be something that happens within us, and then we somehow catalyze it and use it to change. Or, you know, we've all been somewhat, I think, subjected to a storm over the last few years. Maybe it's time to rebalance things and say, hey, we don't accept your storm anymore. We're going to bring our one, and we're going to balance things back out, and we're going to create the world that we want to live in, rather than the one that maybe somebody's given to us.
Yes.
All righty.
Good. So on July 26th, we started a calendar of 13 moons of exactly 28 days, where the first 7 days have that red energy, the second 7 days, the white, then the blue and the yellow. Everything is always repeating with these 4 colors. The name of this moon is Magnetic Moon of Purpose. So we're still in the process of intentioning what do we want for the year, knowing that it's going to be stormy. How are you going to position yourself? Do you need to do some prepping? Do you need to slim down the things that you have to do, or not to be overwhelmed because you won't be able to accomplish so many things, because things are going to be a little turbulent. So just reduce the amount of things you may have to do or plan to do, and just concentrate on those that really need your energy and effort.
Right, and as we've been sharing on the path of the Jaguar, sometimes this information can seem like a bit too much to deal with. But if you can actually segment out and really identify with the magnetic energy, which of course we covered in chapter 1 of the Navigation Guide to Quantum Consciousness, each day of the first day of each wave spell is also a magnetic energy, but also the first lunar month of the year is magnetic. So this is how we start to be able to develop our multidimensional consciousness and actually weave different threads simultaneously, so we can use the first month of the year to magnetize a year-long project.
Exactly.
But we can also use the first day of a wave spell to magnetize a 13-day or fortnightly project, right?
Exactly. So we're magnetizing over this period of 28 days between July 26th to August 22nd. Magnetize, how do you see this year that is going to be intense for sure? But what is it that you still feel the energy to move forward with? Because there are things that need to change. There is no more time. We are in the process of transformation. There's not going to be any more kicking the can down the road.
As I've been saying, the can has been kicked down the road, but unfortunately the road was a cul-de-sac and we've now hit the end of the road. So there is nowhere else to go. And that's not to necessarily be fear-mongering or scaring people, but this is our opportunity to say, hey, I can transform these energies. And I would personally invite everybody to think about what is the new Earth vision you want to call to you this year. This is the year, the lunar year, that the new Earth timeline is going to become apparent to all of us. We both believe that so strongly. But at the same time, if you're not calling it in, inviting it in, then it won't come. So there's an active part of the cycle, right, Bella, too?
Right. And so I introduced the following of the castles. We're still in the first castle, the red one. And we started with the red dragon wave spell. Then we're just completing the Jaguar or white wizard wave spell. And this one we're about to start is the blue hand, which is this one I've just highlighted. So we've got one more to go to complete this castle, which is the first castle of this Solkin. So for those of you that are kind of new to this, we are following the Solkin, which is the 260 days, plus the 13 moon calendar combined. So we're doing the lunisolar process plus the Solkin, which is the sacred round or galactic cosmic energy that we can follow and serve when they're combined.
Right, and so as you can see, we're just going to reiterate what we said before, is that the 260-day cycle is split into these 5 castles. We can see again the same colors, and then we have the green in the middle, which is
the integration of
integration of all. So again, this is another kind of cycle we can work with. The first 4 wave spells are also the initiation energy. So would you recommend that we can work with these castles in conjunction with the lunar calendar, or what would you recommend?
It depends on your level of, how much have you integrated this in. I know that the people that have done the Mayan course, the Mayan time and magic course, are already working with both and they see it as something that is easy and fluid. But if you're new to all of this process, just do the wave spell if everything else is too much. And then just have in the back of your mind, oh, it's still the first moon, so I can gather my ideas, my projects, and just with that. And then later on, learn about your glyph, learn about your galactic signature. And you can do it slowly. It's a lot of information at once, but that's what we're trying to achieve with this show, which is give you a little bit at the time, so you get familiar with the tones, familiar. Well, the tones are mostly covered in the navigation guide to quantum consciousness, but this show is mostly to show you the wave spell and the astrology and how they can connect and how you can navigate.
So the whole point of this is navigation, hence why the show is called the Quantum Compass, which is why we fuse all of the Mayan technology and way of measuring time, but also with the Western astrology to see if we can find these pinch points for action. And we'll be getting into that more. But also I think this is a good opportunity, Bella, just to share the special offer that we still have going on QPW with your Mind, Time and Magic course.
I have it here.
Okay.
We will get that. Don't you worry about it. So the wave spell starts here. You can see the dot, meaning number 1, number 2, 3, all the way down to number 13. And this is going to be from August 3rd to August 15th.
So again, for those of you that are new, these green days are actually what we call gap days or galactic activation portal days. So you want to share just a little bit about that too, Bella?
So on the last day of this wave spell, we have a galactic activation portal, and those are the days that you can actually access more information. It's like the Wi-Fi, the ethereal Wi-Fi is open, and so you can access more. You can put your intentions to transcend on that day the process of these wave spells. So do keep in mind, besides it's August 15th, and we see that the astrology is super powerful for that day. So maybe a day to pay attention to what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, definitely mark your diaries for August the 15th. It is a day of the Blue Cosmic Storm. It's also a galactic activation portal, and as the astrology shows later, it's also super powerful. So definitely, I feel like this wave spell is building towards the very last day.
So I'm just showing here, it's one of the glyphs of the blue family, the blue hand, which are all to do with transformation. This is the wave spell we're going to work with. And as you can see, it finishes with a storm as well. So that's why we're thinking August the 15th can bring many surprises and changes.
Yeah.
Right, so this is the blue hand. Wave spell is the third one in the Solkin. The name of the glyph in Mayan is Manik. And the qualities of this glyph and this whole wave spell is about healing. So if you have a project, you have an idea of something you want to heal, a detox, some part of your body, some emotional healing, is a perfect wave spell for that, to complete projects, to give closure to things that don't work anymore, to use your hands for art, for crafts or different things, for creativity in general. Also the tarot, because the spiritual tools, you could work with your tarot, you could use work with the rods, with the pendulum. All of those are tools that are very useful when we have the intention of a spiritual growth. So the whole wave spell, we want to think of healing. What part am I still waiting to be healed? I know that in your case it's the physical, and after the accident, you're now doing the recovery. So is it a specific part of the healing that you want to concentrate on? But this energy brings the action of knowing, the essence of healing, and the power of accomplishment. It has some shadow to review, which is things like getting overwhelmed by taking too many things or not completing things because of the same reason you've taken too much. To feel inadequate is another shadow. To become too scattered, or to give your power to the tools. Maybe you just trust so much on your pendulum, your tarot, or whatever are your tools that you think you're not powerful enough and you can't do it without it, when they are just an extension of your energy. So don't give your power away to the tools. The other shadow of this glyph is lack of commitment. So something to really review here. The transformation tools are complete what you start. Definitely if you're going to start something over this wave spell, make sure you complete it, find resolution to the things that come up, be aware of resistances and distractions, enjoy each step of this wave spell every single day. Be very mindful of what color it is, what glyph it is, what is the question that I want to ask regarding this. Try to journal, be very present, because I feel August is really going to make us face things that we haven't seen for a long time,
possibly even ever,
in the bigger arena, in the bigger
narrative.
Yeah. I think that's very much it. Commit to your whatever you try to start, any intentions, and become tool of light. So don't give your power away. Remember that we are the tool. We are the connection to higher self, and that's what your power resides.
Right, and as we were saying with the kicking the can down the road, perhaps, Bella, we could say that this healing wave spell, there is definitely a healing quality to the blue hand for sure. Perhaps we could say that we have a lack of commitment to healing ourselves, and we can use this opportunity, because if not now, then when? This has been a big part of the path of the Jaguar. Many of us on this journey have been forced to go into our body codes, explore where our body's still holding trauma. Maybe we've already resolved at the energetic level, but we haven't really paid attention to our physical vessel.
I was talking to Davyd's physiotherapist earlier on. She was here, and she was saying, I'm seeing people, and then because the therapy can be painful, or because of whatever, lack of commitment, they prefer to keep on walking with pain or with a twisted ankle, like really in misalignment, rather than continue the therapy. So that shows a lack of commitment. You want to see the healing all the way through to the end.
And speaking from personal experience in the healing process, I've actually worked with the blue hand glyph and the wave spell consciously as part of my healing process with my feet. For example, the day that the stitches came out of my feet was a blue hand glyph day, consciously organized in that way. So we can start to see how we follow certain loops or deltas of energy frequency. So we can really, really work with the energy of the blue hand glyph, the wave spells, to go into this healing space, which I think I personally would say, if not now, then when. And, you know, there is no more kicking the can down the road. We're at a point where, do you want to go to New Earth? If so, what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to keep letting go of? Right? It's been a big theme of the path of the Jaguar. How much can you keep letting go?
Yes, and the connection to the body, because it is through our body that we are growing and spiritually evolving. It is through this physical body. We are already spiritual, but we have to integrate the matter into this experience as well.
Right, and of course, you know, one of the things that perhaps is sort of gone over some people's heads, but whenever we go to sleep, whenever we die, we actually go through an ascension transformation process in that moment. However, that's not what this game is about. We're trying to do that consciously from the physical body. So any type of escapism or dodging, we can say healing bullets, or just really avoiding commitment to yourself, are also part of this process.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the questions that you can ask yourself on every day. And just think of the first one with the glyph of blue hand. What is it that you want to heal? And how do you call forth the resonance of your true vibration? So your true vibration is whole and is healthy and is everything that you want. So try to bring that forward with whatever needs addressing over this wave spell. And this is what you wanted to share.
So I'll let you take the reins.
Okay, so only until tomorrow, August the 2nd, we have a special offer on our website with 50% discount of all the courses that we have. And then if you miss that one, from the 3rd of August up to the 10th, we have 30% discount on the courses, including the Mayan Time and Magic course, which many people have been asking for.
Right, so this is our commitment to all of you guys. If not now, then when? We're trying to make it as easy as possible to access all of the amazing material. Many of our tribe have actually done all of the courses now, and the difference that people are experiencing in their lives is profound. Us also, we're also doing this work. And so we have the Mayan Time and Magic course. We also have the Stellar Nations pathway with Leslie. And of course, we also have the Geomancy course with our friend and teacher, Dr. Patrick McManaway. So all 50% off. And yes, it's only until the 2nd of August, but the offer has already been running for a week or so. And so we're just putting it back into your awareness. But if you do miss it, then yes, and it's going to the Day of the White Wizard. So yeah, please do check that out, everybody.
Okay, your turn.
All righty. So please bear with me. I'm a little under the weather, so hopefully my voice isn't going to give out. But the astrology for this wave spell is, well, I would say it's a little challenging, a little bit messy. The major configurations that we're going to be looking at in a little bit more detail is the new moon coming up At 12 degrees of Leo on day 2, on August the 4th, that is the day of the yellow star glyph. Then, of course, it's the big cat day, Lionsgate portal, August the 8th, although in theory, the energy of Sirius is actually running from around July the 26th to about August the 12th. And it's when Sirius is closest to planet Earth. And so it really opens a portal to connect with our Sirian brothers and sisters.
There was a very strong conjunction as well with Sirius since July 7th, actually. So there's been a whole month of energy, but it's going to peak around that time.
Right, exactly. And then as we head towards the end of this wave spell, we put them here day 12 and day 13, but the energy is really all kind of coming at the same point. So Mars will be conjuncting Jupiter at 16 degrees of Gemini. Then Mars and Jupiter are squaring Saturn, and then actually into the next wave spell on the 19th. There is a big sort of ongoing square really for most of the rest of the year between Saturn and Jupiter. So we can already see that Mars squaring Saturn on the last day, the day of the cosmic storm. We'll be talking more about that energy in a minute, but that's really where the big challenge is going to come. I think that's what we're seeing as a pivot point.
Yes. And I also wanted to mention that the day out of time is a day that we synchronize with Sirius as well, just like with Lionsgate. Sirius, Orion, and the Pleiades are key to our evolution and our cycles of evolution. So that's something that the Mayans had and tracked through their sites, their observatories, and we go deeper into that in the course. But just to keep the awareness of Sirius being super key when it comes to our astrology and cycles of time.
Right, so here we have a more detailed look of the chart of Sunday the 4th of August, which is day 2 of this wave spell. And the predominant energy is the new moon, which Bella has highlighted here on the left-hand side, when the sun and moon conjunct in Leo. So that's the major template. However, we can see that there are a lot of other transits going on. So we're just going to pick our way through them a little bit. Mercury that day goes stationary direct and then retro obviously until the 28th of August. So as always with Mercury retrograde, a time to reassess, to refine, maybe to realign, recalibrate, to review. A retrograde, I think, is always a review process. We also have the new moon sextiling Jupiter at 15 degrees of Gemini and Mars at 9 degrees. And of course, as this wave spell progresses, Mars will be catching up to Jupiter, as we just talked about. So that energy really is kind of giving a huge surge, we can say, to the process. And it's a sextile is a beneficial aspect. So that's really going to help us smooth out some of the more challenging edges that we can say are coming through with this particular wave spell. We also have a trine with the North Node at 8 degrees of Aries, which is really, let's have a look, taking us into the future and giving us the idea of how the energy of Leo, of the cat, is going to carry us forwards into our collective future. And of course, with this energy being supported by the sextiles to Jupiter and Mars, it's going to give us the opportunity to perhaps think into a more creative space, give us the opportunity to expand. However, at the same time, with Mercury going retrograde, it's perhaps going to put the dampers on it a little bit. The energy in general, actually, for the first half of August is very much of like creative urges, the sensation you want to get ahead, but then somehow also a little bit of blocking energy. Maybe that's like asking you to fine tune what you're looking at, not to get too, how to say, trigger happy. Definitely think everything through carefully.
Or too dramatic, because the energies in Leo can be a little too dramatic. So remember, the bigger the drama, the bigger the ego. So let's try to not go into those spaces of drama and just concentrate on what really matters, because there will be triggers and challenges from what I can see here.
Right, exactly. And also the North Node is in a sextile with Mars, which is going to want us to do something with all of the info that we currently have available to us. There's a lot of Gemini energy in this chart too. And also we have an interesting yod. Let's see if I can pick this out with Pluto at the apex. So where is Pluto on the chart?
Yeah.
So we have a yod going on to Neptune and let me see. So this is the base of the yod.
With Uranus?
No, it's going to be over here with Venus. Sorry, with Venus here at 29 degrees of Leo.
This one.
So this is also the finger of God, but really what this is doing is that Pluto is wanting us to assess our multidimensional nature through the heart, I would suggest. With Neptune in play also, that's the world of illusion and delusion, particularly at the anoretic degree of Pisces. Pluto is going to rip up the rule book. We're probably going to see a lot of disclosures. But the question is, when those disclosures come, maybe it's going to be a shock for some people, maybe it's not going to be a shock at all. However, if it is a shock, and we can already see this happening on the goggle box, is that a lot of people are going to be angry about stuff. There's a lot to be angry about. Let's not kid ourselves. But do we actually go with that anger, or do we take a back step and say, hey, maybe there's a different way to do this. Let me go more into my heart, try and find the compassion, because let's face it, we've all been through a lot over the last 4 years. So if people are starting to flip out, if people are doing crazy things, let's try and understand where that's coming from rather than label them or judge them in some way.
Well, I feel that this everything that is coming is part of the storm, and the reason why the path of the Jaguar wanted to happen is to have some people who connected to their inner shamans, because we need to hold space for the masses. When you think about how much or how many people go down the rabbit holes and know part of the story, nobody has the whole picture, but those of us that have been digging and doing lots of work in different environments, spiritual and conspiracies and healing and lots of different things, we have a little bit of a picture, but just think that probably 90% of the people don't. And we're going to have to use all of that energy to be holding space and still carry on forward with our projects, because we're starting a year, so we can't just let everything block us from moving forward. We actually need to propel with that energy.
Right, and so with that also, Venus is actually in a square to Uranus and Taurus, and that's really going to give us that electrifying surge of energy in the heart. And perhaps we're going to have to reassess our personal value systems, but it could also be an opportunity for a creative breakthrough. However, with this yod in play, with the energy of Neptune and Pluto at the base of the yod, at the base of that very sort of pointed triangle, there could be some resistance here from the Venusian energy to really letting go, surrendering, and accessing our multidimensional states, as we've been discovering through the path of the Jaguar. Letting go fully to go into a new Earth timeline is a much bigger job than I think any of us really had any idea about, and it means total surrender.
Yeah.
Not just a few bits and pieces here and there where it suits us occasionally, maybe on the weekend or a few other days when we feel like it. It's 24/7, all the time, everything. Now,
just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. And, part of being sovereign is that we are sovereign, that we are independent beings. That doesn't mean that we just discard everybody or let everything go. However, I think this is where Venus is coming into that personal value systems about how am I showing up in the world? Am I ready to take the next step? Am I ready to let go even more? How much ballast or density am I carrying? Is it still coming up? And, having a cold the last couple of days is in connection to my own healing work. I had to go in to my system to find something that was bothering me. And so I'm having a release as a part of that. That's what the commitment to healing is. It's showing up and not shying away from what might be difficult for us to look at. But in the end, it's important, if not essential, that we do this, because if we don't, then those places where those energetic traumas are in our body are going to start to show up pretty painfully if they aren't already. So in the end, as we say, you do it to yourself, and that's what really hurts. So better not to do it to yourself and let it go.
Are you done with this chart?
I think so. Let's just have a look. Oh yeah, I also wanted to bring in the fact that we have Iris appearing here in opposition. So maybe Iris is an asteroid. Some of you might be thinking, what's that all about? We've covered it before in different shows. But Iris is really our representation of the rainbow bridge energy. She's also the being who sits and adjudicates at the River of Styx. When we're looking at the actions of the gods and the demigods to see whether they've been in their coherence and their authenticity, or whether maybe they've been doing something a bit nefarious. So I think that this new moon is showing up in opposition to this very powerful energy that's going to assess how are our leaders showing up for us, the so-called gods and demigods who rule Gogglebox and probably have ruled our lives in various ways. For all of our lives, they're going to perhaps now be judged or on their own actions. This is a moment, I would say, of, I don't want to say Judgment Day because it's a little full on, but it's a moment where we get to see how our hearts are weighing up on the scales.
Good. So Lionsgate portal.
Right. So technically, this is not necessarily an astrological thing, but it is a day that's very, very powerful. And as I've said before, I didn't really pay an awful lot of attention until the last couple of years when really, really powerful cat-related, dandelion-related experiences happened on August the 8th for both of us for the last few years. So I started to pay more attention to it and look into what it is. But on this chart, I've included the asteroid goddess of Sekhmet, who's at 13 degrees of Libra, and in this particular chart is sextiling the sun.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's actually a really powerful and beneficial, we can say, aspect that's going to bring through the qualities of Sekhmet. Is there anything you'd like to say about
Well,
Sekhmet?
I think it's curious there is a 13 degrees, so it's the goddess connection.
Right.
We've been working with the goddess Jaguar, the lion goddess, with lots of feline energies. So if you have been doing a little bit of digging into stellar nations, do review your great felines and winged lions connections, because it seems like the energy of the felines are coming here to help in this process. And many people are already intentioning to work directly with Sirius and these connections to the felines for this intensive part of the process that we're in.
Absolutely, and there is a video on the YouTube channel done some time back with myself and Heather Ensworth where we go looking at actually some of the asteroid goddesses. That was from the Return of the Goddess journey that we did around autumn last year.
We'll add it to the link.
Yeah, so you can put this the link in the show notes. But I think that really the Lionsgate portal is asking us with these very feminine energies, actually, which we'll look at again in more detail in a minute, to embrace the goddess energy through the filter of the great felines, through the noble, honorable lions. And also looking here with Iris, you know, another powerful goddess aspect. So how is your goddess coming through? How are you receiving the goddess? Are you shut down at that level? Are you connecting with your fifth dimensional self, which is more the goddess energy?
And when we talk about Sekhmet, is a warrior energy, is a female warrior energy, but also wisdom and strength and many other qualities.
Yeah, and particularly with Sekhmet, she, I think, carries the energy of duality and polarity really well. She could be the most beneficial, powerful healer, but she's also an agent of destruction, somewhat in the vein of Kali, and she has no problem to destroy things, which to some people might sound scary, but this is, I think, a little bit of the moment that we're in, which is why the Lionsgate portal has been indicated to us by our guides as being one of the most powerful days, complete with a thunderclap outside, that is coming up in August. And so I really think that we should pay special attention to this, because I feel like it's giving us a preemptive hit to get ready for the energy that's likely to come on the 15th.
I'm also looking at this big trine here that is happening between Uranus, Pluto, and is this with Juno or the moon?
With Juno, yeah, we could say, and with the moon also, yeah. So we also have there Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces opposing Juno at 29 degrees of Virgo. Would you like to say anything about that?
About which one?
Neptune opposing Juno. So I
don't have anything on
I would suggest that basically we're being asked to look at our commitments again, possibly in partnerships. Are we in a place of loyalty? Are we in a place of loyalty to ourselves, maybe in our partnerships?
Or are you living under some illusions, maybe, with Neptune there?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, overall, this is a day for us, I think, to really attune to our Syrian brothers and sisters, particularly those maybe connected to the great felines, the cat energy, or maybe the dolphins too. They're also from Sirius. But it's really, if we think about the energy of the blue hand, I kind of think that the 8th of August is the day where we can really call in. It's like, okay, I still need help. I still need to do some healing. Please, Spirit, bring me the healing that I need, and be ready to receive whatever that is. Like,
and go with the changes, because Uranus and Pluto are definitely going to bring transformation as well and big changes, as the storm as well. So I think we want to get ready for big changes from August 8th and onwards.
Right, and we can see that the goddess energies are also working in harmony. We have a nice trine there between Iris and Sekhmet. Sekhmet is also in a slightly loose 6-degree orbit. We can still say that it's effect with the true Lilith. We can see there's a 3-degree separation there too. The mean black moon of Lilith, which is in the early degrees of Libra as well. But I think it's really interesting, like you said, that Sekhmet is showing up at 13 degrees in the sign of balance in Libra. So lots more to chew on there. We could probably do a whole show about this. But we'll move on to the final chart for today, which is really going to cover both of these important conjunctions that are coming up. And so
Mars conjunct Jupiter here.
Right, so we can see that Mars is conjuncting Jupiter exactly at that moment, but also we can see that it's coming very quickly into that square with Saturn over here in Pisces at 17 degrees. So Mars conjunct Jupiter is actually, I would say, a relatively good aspect. It's definitely, it feels like we're going to put a foot on the gas. We're going to want to go ahead. We're going to want to do stuff. But perhaps the key here is not to do it too fast, not to jump the gun like I did earlier in this show. Whoa, more fun to hear. But to perhaps be more considered, not to get too much into the Mars energy, being blown up with the energy of Jupiter supporting it, but to perhaps realize that there is a face-off. We can even say that the energy of Mars is squaring off against the energy of Pops, the young rebel squaring off against Father Time, Kronos. So I think that's also interesting. Anything you want to add about that, Bella, on that particular?
Maybe to just be careful, because that Jupiter and Mars would probably want you to be more aggressive about what you say and too much. So just be more measured about what you're trying to communicate. Maybe lots of people will be waking up and you want to say things to people. We don't want to be saying, I told you so, and there is all of these and this and this information. Maybe be very mindful, compassionate, and give just what they need so that they can go and dig more information for their own benefit. I think that could happen a lot with lots of people. I'm already seeing it with people that have been waking up, let's call it. Yes, being overwhelmed by the amount of information, and we know that there will be more regarding the jabs, regarding many things. So
Right, and also what I think is interesting looking at this chart here is that we have Orcus, more challenging, we can say, aspect in the story here because it's squaring off both against Mars and against Saturn. And Orcus is the oath breaker, or we tend to see it more as the indicator of contracts that either need to be reassessed, either torn up, or maybe even actually honored.
yeah.
So I would suggest that maybe this whole piece here is giving us the opportunity to restructure how we view time.
And yeah, time, exactly. That I was just going to say that. How we view time and how we experience time, because time is what actually allows us to create the reality. That's where we need to go into the switch of a more natural cycle rather than the Gregorian time, which is not logical, is not, it doesn't have that perfection of the spiral energy that is part of all creation in this planet, from flowers to fruits to everything that we have in creation. Our bodies are all perfect, the perfect representation of that golden ratio of the Fibonacci sequence. We should jump back into that time cycle timing.
Right, exactly. And so that kind of leads us into the very challenging, I would suggest, energy of the last day, which is day 13 of this wavespell, the day of the blue cosmic storm. And that is where Mars comes into the exact square with Saturn. Obviously, it moves faster than Jupiter, and it's already very close on the 14th. Now, we're not in the business of fear-mongering or anything like that, but we are also pragmatists, being Scorpios, and we like to assess the information and try and make a best fit call on how to navigate it, hence why so much of our material is about navigation. So what can we expect from this energy? Well, if we understand the energy of Mars squaring off against Saturn and perhaps even being expanded by brother Jupiter there, we can say that there's a likelihood of frustration and even inhibition kicking in. It could be harder to pursue those goals that we got the energy rush for. Hence why a little bit of like, okay, let's take it one step at a time. It doesn't mean like throw the baby out with the bathwater, as we would say, but actually just assess with Mercury's more kind of thorough review process, being retrograde, like, okay, well, what is the plan here? How are we going to move ahead? Let's not take rash actions because they could rebound on us really quickly. The energy of holding on to what you have rather than perhaps trying to gain more at this time would be probably a good strategy. Maybe not the best time to initiate projects, but maybe to just check that your projects are in the flow step by step and you have all the details ready for when this kind of square moves off a little bit. I mean, this doesn't last that long, this square with Saturn, it only lasts about a week. So again, patience is a virtue, I would suggest here. And yeah, patience will get you more rewards. And I would suggest pragmatism during this period. And then perhaps we can start to think about what the energy of Jupiter squaring Saturn is going to be in the next wave spell. So the other thing I just wanted to add on that day is my physio was telling me that August the 15th is part of a 15-day cycle that the local people have been observing here. But also in the Greek Orthodox Church, it's also the day of the Virgin Mary. So again, more goddess energy.
Good.
Right, so here is, it's not a cookery course, although I wouldn't mind if it was. This is our plant of the wave spell. It is Nettle. Why Nettle? Well, I think that given the tumultuous energy that's flying around at the moment, also here in Mexico, having a pretty severe change in climate, that can often lead our immune systems to getting a little depleted. Nettle is an amazing adaptogen, easy to find, of course, very easy to identify, especially if you grab hold of it, you'll know that it's nettle. But adaptogens are really, really good at creating balance. And when we create balance, we create something called equipoise, particularly if we go into meditation. And nettle, surprisingly, for its fiery nature, is an excellent meditational plant. And I would suggest that during the period of tumultuous energy, maybe some of the Saturn, Mars energy, that's the key to all of this, is don't dive in, take a little bit of time, maybe take 10, 15 minutes, settle yourself down, breathe, get yourself calm, and then assess from a more meditational place, what are the next steps of your actions you want to do?
Yes, and we didn't include it here, but dandelion is the favorite feline connected plant and is the one that brings you back to the moment. What is important? Bring some joy, open your heart. Things are probably going to look quite intense out there, but we want to be able to go back into our heart and try to enjoy the process, even though things may look a bit chaotic.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. And also, this is really our boundary plant. And being boundaried is a really, really important part of being sovereign. If we're porous, well, then we're giving energy away, but also receiving probably things that maybe we don't want or not helpful to us. So this is a plant that's excellent for, excuse me, maintaining our boundaries. But of course, it's an excellent plant for being rich in minerals and nutrients, all of which I can do right now because my system is feeling a little depleted. So I will be having nettle tea after this recording. But nettle is a beautiful plant, and as we can see here, it's really, really great for cooking. You can wilt spinach. You can wilt nettle in the same way that you can spinach. A little bit of butter and garlic and pepper, all very, very tasty. And you can even make pasta with it. But I would suggest the very best food is a nettle soup with a bit of potato. Nice, right? And someone's done an excellent job there with some cream and some flowers. Easy to find on YouTube or any of the other search sites to make a nettle soup. So that's a really, really tasty and excellent way to get that goodness into you. So yeah, have fun with that.
And this is just to remind you all that we're still releasing the chapters of the Navigation Guide to Quantum Consciousness, and we're putting together that Galactic Atlas to New Earth, which is a series of steps, 13 steps, just like the 13 tones of the wave spell, so that you understand the process of creation and getting back in the flow with the cosmos. And you can use these 13 steps to follow the year. Every month is a tone. Every day of a wave spell is a tone. Or just if you want to go into a creative process to manifest something that you want, you can follow the step by step.
Yeah, so the navigation guide, as Bella said, is also an excellent addendum to the Mayan Time of Magic course, where we go perhaps a bit more into the glyphs and understanding the different glyphs there. But this is really looking at the 13 tones.
The 13 tones plus a bit more of the esoteric knowledge and sacred geometry. I add a little bit more than just the tones.
Yeah. I mean, each chapter is quite long and rich in content, and really the idea is to give each and every one of you doing this navigation guide a much bigger tapestry, we can say, or creative board with which to work through the 13 months, the 13 days, and so on. And we're trying to really give as much information as possible so that we can feel into the importance of each and every day.
So the first 6 chapters are already available here in our link in quantumplanet.world, Galactic Atlas, and chapter 7 should be coming by next week.
Exactly. And also just to highlight, and hopefully Bella's on a slide for this, but there was a recently released new plant transmission essence with the plant of the path of the Jaguar, which was vervain, which is also an excellent plant for cleansing mind, body, and spirit. Please do check that out. Another wonderful transmission from myself and the brother, Mr. Jackson Mayan, and really, again, blew us away, as always, when we do the plant transmissions, with what the plants want to share with us. So you can find all of that on the QPW website, and I would suggest these are times where we want to be engaging with this material, and maybe if we are being encouraged to be a little more with ourselves, we want to be using our time to educate ourselves more on how we can move into the new earth frequency.
Yeah, good. So that's it very much from us, or the presentation. What else did you want to add here?
Not much really, other than that we're moving forwards into, I think, a very, very important moment in this evolutionary step that we're all in. I think that we should remain open to what that is, but also remain open to the fact that if we want to switch from one paradigm to another, we really need to assess what we need to let go of. from that paradigm, maybe even aspects of ourselves that no longer serve us. Definitely that's been a part of the work for this year for us, and I know many of our tribe also. But if you're experiencing anxiety or stress or physical, emotional pain, don't try to push it away. Like physio was saying to Bella this morning, go into it. The quicker you go into something, the quicker it can become more illuminated and then it can be released. It's actually surprising how quickly things can be released with a bit of attention right now.
Yes, and we can be in charge of our healing. We can become more quantum by visualizing. I was talking to the physio again, and she was telling me, yes, I visualize the tendons. I visualize when I put everything together in place. I ask permission for it to happen, and then I make sure that it goes into the right place by talking to the tendons, talking to the muscles when I do the work. So talk to your body, talk to your cells, talk to your higher self, to your guides, and bring all of those into your healing space.
And talk nicely. I mean, what Bella's sharing here from the physio is actually the same process I've been engaging in for the last 4 months, talking to the feet every day, giving them so much love. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be better than it was before. And actually, as I'm finding with the physio, I'm being rewired from the feet up. It's not just the feet that needed fixing, it's actually pretty much all of me. So it's painful, as Bella will testify to the screaming that goes on in my sessions. However, that's part of a warrior initiation. And my attitude is like, well, if not now, then when? So I just need to go through this and release it. And then it'll be over. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to walk properly, cancel, delete in the future. And that's not what I want for myself. I want to be a fully strong, completely rewired individual, ready to take off as any good Skywalker would into the new Earth type.
Yes, and just to finalize here, I want to share that during our Path of the Jaguar, we went through a few places in Mexico which connected us to points of origin. So see if there is anything about your places of origin that you also need to heal. It could be connected to your lineage. It could be connected to your mother lineage, to your social group. What part needs still to have some healing so that those things can be released as well? Maybe you were born in a different country and you need to heal that connection, or maybe the connection to either of your parents or somebody in your family. What bonds and need to have some healing too?
Right, and for those of you who are able to go a little bit beyond the physical realm in this incarnation, you might want to go metaphysical and look at some of your other origin points from other timelines, we can say, or other cosmic history codes. It's something we've been exploring a lot in the Jaguar path is our dragon selves, our cat selves, our bird selves, our angelic selves, because each one of them is a part of us, and yet somehow they're also with their own identity, and they also have their own traumas, which somehow manifest in the body. So be open to what comes through, but also, as Bella said, you know, we want to go back to the root origin of the traumas, which is something that we're looking at in our mission to repair time. What happened here on planet Earth? Why do we have such a mishmash of history? This is part of our service, we can say, and that's why we do so many videos about time and looking at time and reassessing it. But actually, we're also doing the same things for ourselves every day. We're trying to find the origin points of traumas in the body. But when did this start? And we're using all of the tools that are at our disposal, our astrology, our cosmology through Antares codes, our Mayan glyphs through tarot, and you know there are many other things that you can use too. The I Ching is also a good one. So yeah, use this time to investigate yourself and say which parts of me still feel like they need a bit of love or TLC, and how can I release that? Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, so deep healing to come in this wave spell. I also want to add that we will release later on, when we finish the Path of the Jaguar, a more compact version of it. If you want to learn more about working multidimensional in a multidimensional way, to connect with your Jaguar or shaman side, to work with the astrology, many things that we did, go to the point of origin and how to identify those points.
Yeah, I mean, this live version will be finishing tomorrow as day 13 of the White Wizard. However, as Bella said, we're going to put it together into a more kind of course material that can be downloaded. It won't be live, so perhaps it won't have all of the bells and whistles, the discussion groups, etc. However, there will be support for that, and it's been really, really powerful to engage with the inner shaman, we can say the inner Jaguar. But also in doing that, we're being asked to look at all of the aspects of ourselves, not just Davyd and Bella from this timeline, but as we said, our cat selves, our dragon selves, how we connect to the cosmology, what's the trauma that our soul still wants to resolve? Because, yeah, whatever's coming up for us in this moment, physically, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, is actually part of our soul trying to talk to us. Our higher self is trying to show us something. And again, you know, how much resistance do you have to looking at that? So this is where we're at right now, everybody. please feel free to comment anything that's going on for you in the boxes. We'd love to hear from all of you and be able to respond. Also, if you're having synchronicities or anything you want to share about the material from the last series of shows we've been doing, because together we're doing this. We are doing this together as a community across the planet, as a species, and as we move forward, we're all going to be helping to build the tableau or gestalt of New Earth, but it requires conscious centering, heart expansion, and also, I would say, connection to the goddess energy and that rebalancing within ourselves. And as we've said many times before, the most rebellious, revolutionary thing that we can do is take self-responsibility and let our inner energy and light radiate out to the world around us.
Okay,
All right.
we wish you a beautiful healing in this wave spell, and we'll see you on the other side.
In Lakesh.
In Lakesh. Bye.